Welcome to the video. We're checking out the book known as What Every Pianist Needs to Know About the Body. I've provided the link in the description for you to check out the book. And before I get into the video, I just want to say that whatever being talked about in this video is only the important points. I'm not really, reading out the whole thing. So if you want to know much more about the book, like if you want to dive deeper into it, then it's highly recommended that you go check out the book, because it's just wonderful. Now let's get into the video. Now we'll talk about the spinal movement. So most of the people, when they move around the piano, they usually try to move from the waist. Instead of using the whole structure, they move from the waist. We should actually try to move as a whole when we're moving from one end to the other, not from the waist part. Another habit is that when we move our head, our AO joint and the neck move together. But that is also a mismapping, because people think that the neck is part of the head. Neck is not part of the head. Moving the neck and the AO joint together would tense those neck muscles, which is eventually gonna lead to injuries. You have to definitely check if you have mismapped these two, and if you have, then you should correct those, because if you don't, then soon you're going to get injured. In a well-coordinated movement, the head is always gonna lead. It's like watching a snake. If you watch a snake closely, you can see how it moves. The body is always gonna follow the head, and that's exactly how we are supposed to move. Our spine has to follow our head, leading with some other places than the head. For example, like the chest would feel really heavy when we are moving. You can try that right now and feel how heavy it is. And then you can use your head and then feel how light that is. Just before, we've talked about the disc in the spine, and we're gonna elaborate that a bit more. The disc of the vertebrae is gonna allow the vertebrae to move closer or apart from the adjacent vertebrae. And this pattern of moving further and apart from can be seen when we're breathing. So when we are inhaling, the disc is going to extend, and when we are exhaling, the disc is going to shrink down. So now we know that this lengthening and gathering of the spine is going to happen like thousands of times a day. This lengthening and gathering is something that is required if you have to stay relaxed. But when do we know when to gather or when to lengthen? The answer to that is that the music will tell you when to do that. If you want your arms to feel real support, and if you don't want the back to be tense, then lengthening and gathering should be occurring when you're playing the piano. So there are four principal movements of the spine. It's called the laws of the spine. The first one is that the head leads. The head always moves first, and then the rest of the body is going to follow the head. The second one is that the vertebrae is going to follow in sequence, like a snake, for example. The third one is that the movement is distributed all over the spine. When we move, we should not concentrate on one part of the spine. We should move as a whole. And the last one is that the spine must be free to lengthen and gather. We should not keep it steady. We should allow ourselves to lengthen and gather. And when we're playing a music, the music is going to tell us when to do that.